Hello everyone and welcome to episode 53 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice. Listen to the description below. I'm back after having been usurped by the vile Dark Fortune duelist meta. And deposed of my GMing throne. I'm Obsidian.
My reign was short-lived, but they say that the candle that burns twice as bright burns twice as short.
Oh, that's very wise. Very wise saying.
Yes.
Yeah, like every once in a while, Meta he pokes out and takes my reins from me because life kicks me in the nuts.
You can never really trust me, Obs. One day I'm gonna usurp it for real season.
Well, I sat down to record last week, and we were talking about stuff I really would have loved to talk about. And then my now roommate, then friend's internet at his old house was not working. So, and the internet didn't get up at my new place until this past weekend. So there you go.
But now it's all good, right?
Yeah. Now we're copacetic for now. It's only a matter of time before something goes wrong.
We'll wait. I'll wait. I'll be patient.
All right. We've also got the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo. There you go. He's here, I swear.
He's here.
And the rest of the go on, Tets. I thought you were robot voicing or something again.
I said I'm here for now, at least until my computer decides to mess up. I guess it decided there was the great opportunity.
And the resident wildcard Mao.
Yo.
So what's been up with everybody? I didn't get to talk to you last week.
Games. New games.
Yeah, I've been playing old games because I haven't had internet and watching Kitchen Nightmares on my external hard drive. When a man doesn't have internet, he does what he must. And reading, lots of reading.
I should do that more, but
I have been just
the allure of video games is strong.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm just going through the week, surviving.
It's just another day for meta. It's hard knock life for a crane, man.
Do you know how hard it is to find 3 servants who will do everything for you? I don't know if you all have this problem or not. Probably not. You're all
yes, I would love to have them help me move. Because I've been moving at work and moving in real life. As if work isn't real life, but
yeah, right.
Moving out of the previous house I rented into another house where I'm renting a room. So there you go. I'm saving money and I'm living with people I like now.
Hey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
No more motorcycles, hopefully.
Well, my roommate has a motorcycle, but I have a window that isn't busted out.
He's not going to just be sitting there revving it.
No, and I don't live by the interstate anymore. I live in a suburb. So
I think that was really the key point right there is that he's not going to sit there and rev it unless.
I mean, he might.
I was gonna say, he might do it just to fuck with you.
He has a basement to do it in too, so it'll rumble the entire house if he does. So it has the potential to be even worse than last time.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will. What about you, Tet? What's been going on? Gunpla.
Been a lot doing a lot of modeling. Well, not entirely Gunpla. I picked up a few tank kits and I've been doing dioramas and stuff for some of my models, but mostly modeling using my new airbrush I got and all that.
I hear that an airbrush makes your life so much easier.
It makes things a lot faster, at least. A lot of the fine details still gonna do a hand brush for, but at least for putting on primer and doing wide swaths of, especially on opposed to a miniature for a war game, it definitely is worth its weight.
Yeah, my buddy has one, and he uses it to basically put the base coat on all of his models for his War Machine army. So he's like, instead of it taking me hours, it took me 2 hours instead of 8 or 10 to paint a whole army.
So only thing that does take some time is depending on how much colors and what types of paints you're using, the cleaning cycle could possibly cause it to be longer than if you used a brush. But even then, it's still going to be a much more even coat than what you can accomplish with a brush.
Man,
If only we were minting a mini painting podcast, right?
I know, right? Actually, to
Dude.
be fair, I was poking Tuts' brain on that because I'm trying to. I gotta paint up some minis from friends for our tabletop game, and let me tell you,
It's fun. That's all the painting I do is D&D models and stuff. I don't do.
that's pretty much
war
as far
games,
as.
so-
Well, the problem is like I'll end up splitting it though for like I'll go for like half a year without doing it, and then I'm like, shit, how do I do this again?
It is not like riding a bike.
It is not.
Hey,
But it's
painting.
not like riding a bike either.
That's true.
People
true.
like painting streams too. Actually,
That's
there's
actually
quite a
very
few
true.
of them.
Oh yeah.
Main reason why I played Warhammer 40k was because I liked putting together the miniatures way
Yeah.
more than I liked playing.
I still have a bunch of Tau unpainted that I always keep meaning to, but
I'm the total opposite. Like, I hate mini games that require you to like paint the minis and crap. I'd rather just like have them come pre-painted, and I'd be like, "Yeah, here's my models, bam, lay them down," and then I get to play with them. And that'd
Yeah,
be
I'm kind of
awesome.
like that too.
I'd rather just get into it.
And then you could like paint over them if you want.
yeah, I just like working with my hands. I think on stuff like that.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can see that.
Also started doing like fine scale modeling when I was like 10 or so. So I also like so long. Like on and
Go
off.
on, toot your horn, Tats. It's fine. We're not gonna stop you.
Oh, that wasn't what I meant. What I meant
No, I
was
know.
if I
I'm just
jumped
messing with
into
you.
it when I was older, I probably would be in the same boat. To be
Gotcha.
honest.
All right. Well, we got lots of video to talk about tonight.
What? We've got video to talk about.
Yeah, all kinds.
Videos.
That
Who
sounds
would have
great.
guessed? So,
That I can't believe it.
so you're starting out meta. So go on. What's
What?
your topic?
Oh God, I don't know what to talk about except for maybe Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, which came out.
Who knew? Who knew?
So yeah, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition did drop, and man, playing that game is fun.
You're getting the
I
feels.
can't-
You're getting the memories. the
Oh,
sweet
yeah.
nostalgias.
That nostalgia is not misplaced. It is enjoyable as I remember it.
Nostalgia.
Yeah,
You can have
long
nostalgia for
ago
things
was
from
it?
like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh,
That's
it was like
totally fine.
it was actually a fair amount of time ago, like 4 or 5.
Yeah, it
think
was.
actually-
It was pretty close
yeah.
to the early in the Wii U. I thought.
Yeah, it was early on the Wii U. Actually, I'll look it up, but
Like a year after the Wii U came out?
2014.
Yeah.
just a little bit under 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to just cover everything again. I will state that the game, for those of you who don't know, it came out for the Wii U. Then a version came out for the 3DS, which had more stuff on it. The DLC that had come out for the Wii U version plus extra, and now the Switch version, which I'm hoping is its redemption arc, and will sell wonderfully well as it should have.
Because it was hindered by being on the Wii U.
Yeah,
Like
unfortunately,
every game on the
every
Wii U.
game on the Wii U. Yeah.
Except that Mario Kart 8
It's like that Mario Kart 8, man. That game,
had a high
Did
retention
wonderful.
rate.
I mean, it's Mario Kart. You can't really
Yeah,
get
that's
Mario
true.
Kart wrong.
which was also a good game, but that's not what we're talking about today. So for the Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, what it does bring to the table is everything that the other two editions brought, plus a little few extra things. It runs in a locked 60 frames per second, which is wonderfully
Oh.
sweet. And it also has it has more enemies on screen. They've actually upped the amount of enemies you can put on screen. They've kind of gone back and modified it a little bit to kind of help let it push itself for what the Switch is, but not without sacrificing the 60 frames, which is
Yeah.
wonderful again.
They make good use of the hardware, basically. Upgrade.
Yeah, they honestly what they did with this game is there's really no graphics updates. I mean, it almost looks like the Wii U version. There's probably a little bit. They probably did some touch up that they just never bothered to mention. or
I
could be
assume it's
wrong.
at higher definition.
It is at higher definition. It is at 1080p, 60 frames, the whole shebang. They make wonderful use of the hardware, as you put it. That was probably the best way to say it. Is they just make wonderful use of that hardware. I am honestly and legitimately impressed by the game, and I'm very glad for it. However, like the only real downside is if you get this game, there's really never a reason to pick up Fire Emblem Warriors because going to this game, I like originally when I was thinking about this topic, I was like, well, I got to think some pros and cons, like because I do want to compare it to like Fire Emblem Warriors, like some goods and bads, but that was immediately shot down because you can control your units now. You can bring multiple units in that you can switch and play through on a single map. You can send them off to do things, either to defend an area, to deal with a creature, or to fight certain enemies, or to protect or escort another ally. So the only thing it really misses is like the weapon triangle, which technically wasn't even done first in Fire Emblem Warriors. If you've played Dynasty Warriors 8, you remember that you had man, earth, and heaven, which was quite literally a weapon triangle. Heaven beat man, man beat earth, and earth beat heaven, or something like that. So
He held in rock, paper, scissors.
it's pretty much. So that is the only. But wait, what?
I was just gonna say the way that you said like the other things that you can do with the in Hyrule Warriors, it's almost played that or Fire Emblem Warriors, but it's played most of the other Warriors games. It's more akin to like the Empires series in that regard, sort of.
Yeah, like you actually have control of your units, like which is again, it was a thing that's happened in the Empire series as well, where they first started to deal with like controlling units that are under your command and sending them off to point A, B, or C and doing whatever you want them to do. I mean that's in it though. Like I said, the only downside to having your group is that unless you're playing as the character, they won't gain any XP, which is the only downside. Fire Emblems, unfortunately, Warriors made that nice because whoever you have as your on your like your party or with you, they will all gain EXP. So that was a benefit, but it's not a big loss. It's not like leveling up is very difficult in this game. So beyond that, it is essentially the same thing as other games. There was a nice surprise is that for me, myself, because I never played the 3DS, so I didn't know what really came with that. You got a My Fairy system, which essentially allows you to raise a fairy, given an elemental type, a type of personality, and certain gear, and that will affect substats that can affect your character when you equip with them, as well as changing how their special ability might work.
Oh, that's neat.
So it's actually really nice to have kind of like this little companion thing. And you actually have a model for the fairy. And when you summon it out, unlike the 3DS version where it kind of just showed a picture and that was it, when you summon out your fairy, it will retain all the gear and how you designed and made it look like. So when you summon the fairy out, it will have all that stuff for it, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, but that fee, though, what you know about that fee?
God.
Everyone's supposed to say the character.
I know, right? It also has all the DLC from the original, both Wii U, I'm assuming, in the 3DS, if there was any. I didn't really follow the 3DS version. But it has all the DLC. It has the expanded storylines. It goes from what was generally, I think, about like 14 or 16 storyline stages to now about 20 to, I think, probably 28, 26 now. So it's gotten a fair chunk, nearly doubled in size for the story mode. So it's actually wonderful because of that. And again, most of it's just from actual DLC and stuff. But it's a wonderful game. I mean, it's really hard what else to sing the praises on it. I haven't gone through a lot of it, unfortunately. But I have been playing through it again. I already know characters I want to play that I didn't really play in the first game. I want to play now. I originally mained Impa, because obviously I got to have my giant katana and samurai. But this game, I actually want to. Yeah, I know, right? But this game, I'm not playing the predictable route. I actually want to play Kid Link, or Young Link.
Is it Toon Link or Young Link?
It's like Young Link. Young Link is
Wind Waker
Majora Mask.
Okay,
no,
okay,
no,
gotcha.
The Majora Mask one. Majora Mask. And specifically because he has actually a really cool gimmick, and I see this a lot more in the newer Dynasty Warriors games, is that they tend to like come out with gimmicks for certain characters, like some sort of passive or interesting mechanic that they do with him. And Young Link, again, is one of those few characters that has a very interesting gimmick to him. The real major gimmick to him is that young Link in and of himself is not a bad character, but he's generally subpar. He's got kind of short range because he's a tiny kid, and they compensate for that by just giving him a giant like sword as opposed to like the young kid, the young Link sword and shield. He's kind of got like Bigoron's giant sword or whatever. But his major gimmick is that when you're raising up your special meter, your muso gauge, so to speak. If you don't utilize it and instead use the first charge move, he'll play the ocarina and it'll transform it into magic for the magic meter. Because when you fill that up and you activate it, like normally everybody, anytime you go into that, it's called like spirit focus or something like that. I can't remember the actual term of the game, but it's magic mode essentially. When you go into that mode,
the rage mode in
games, you attack faster. You have moves will tend to break through guards. It'll do a little bit more damage. And generally, the original gimmick was that if you had both a passive finisher, which means that once the meter ran out, it would just do a finisher move for you, or you could use a spirit focus finisher, which is if you ended it before the meter ran out, you would perform a powerful move that would immediately put your opponent into a weakness state, where you could then follow it up by attacking their gauge. And if you reduce it down to 0, you perform another powerful move on them. So it really benefited you to kind of pay attention to that bar and play it. But young Link does something a little bit different. He actually puts on the Fierce Deity mask, and his whole moveset becomes very overpowered. Every single attack he performs is now much faster. Every single attack he performs now shoots out beams of energy. You can quite literally cleave through armies, and even more so than normal in a Dynasty Warriors game. And your real gimmick is that as you're generating this meter, you can even use the ocarina as you're playing as Fierce Deity Link, which means that you can continue to retain the gauge, which means that you stay in that mode longer. So it becomes a game of trying to kill creatures, gaining the link, finding the next group, killing them off, and keeping this pace up until eventually, which will happen, you wear out the meter and you go back to being Link. But I like that. I like that gimmick. So I'm going to be playing him. He's going to be he's going to be effectively my main now, because I want to play a mode where I can just stay as Fierce Deity Link for as long as possible and blow the crap.
That was added to this version, or that was in the
original
as well?
That was in the original as well. It's just that this is who I want to main now, because originally in the original version I made Impa. I enjoyed the crap out of her, but now I want to play young Link because I really like his gimmick.
The meta. What about the waifus?
What about the waifu?
What about
Why wouldn't you play Marin though? She's the waifu.
Why would you not play as a chicken?
The chicken.
Looking through these characters.
This is a legit character you can play as
Kuko.
And unfortunately, from what I understand, the Kuko gets unlocked because I read up on somebody's guide. They've been playing the Japanese version because it came out before. And they said the only downside is that unlocking the Kuko, you've kind of had to unlock everything, a bit of everything else before getting to the Kuko. So he said it's kind of a disappointment because you get to really play this interesting and fun, hilarious character, but you kind of done everything before. That's really kind of like an end goal thing. I could be wrong. This is just from what I understanding of what I was watching. It's been a while. But yeah. I mean, they have all the challenge modes like Ganon's Fury, where you can play as Ganon as he's in giant pig mode, and you get to go around and just quite literally blow up battlefields by smashing everything beneath your giant feet and hands. It is kind of fun because it almost has a kaiju feel to it. You'll end up fighting like the big, like the sub boss creatures, like the king. Can't wait to bomb some Dodongos. There we go. King like the Dodongos and whatnot and stuff like that.
King Goron.
Yep. Those kind of guys. All of them you get to kind of like face. And they're smaller than you, which always kind of feels very fun. And you get to crush the crap out of them. So it's a good romp. If you're looking for something new though, unfortunately, if you've played the 3DS, you're really not gonna get that. It's probably a far better jump over if you've played the Wii U, because there's a lot more to do. But if you've played the 3DS, you're really just playing the same game again. Just this time, it's been spruced up, put on the Switch. The hardware's been wonderfully utilized to make the most out of what the game is.
And it still has more variants than Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, it's got... I mean, you have... What is it? I think there's 30-something characters, and almost... majority of characters at least have 2 weapons, and Link has 7. Yeah. So you have about 60 I want to say 60-50 move sets in the game. 40 to 60, I should say.
Fire Emblem
movesets-
can make everyone's unique.
Yeah. And this game has every move, every weapon type, every move set is unique depending on what weapon you use for the character. But Fire Emblem couldn't even do that. I would honestly just recommend that if you're looking to get a Warriors game, you're looking to get one that's good and fun, just get Hyrule Warriors. It's this
On the go.
definitive edition. Yeah, it's just legitimately better now. There's not even a reason to get the Fire Emblems unless you're just a really big Fire Emblems diehard fan and you want to play the Fire Emblems game.
You know what I really wish they'd port to the Switch?
What?
The Yakuza games.
Ooh.
Well, they're remaking 2, 3, and 4
Yes,
for
they are.
PlayStation 4.
Yep.
I know that was like a weird tangent, but
Just you know what?
it needed to be said.
Obs is like, you know what Link makes me think of? Yakuza.
Yakuza, yeah.
You're telling me that Link doesn't scream Japanese mafia?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, I really want to play the new one.
Totally different Hyrule games then.
God.
I like the concept of the new one, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent.
The adventure maps have been redesigned a little bit because in the Wii U version, like everything was shoved into the first original adventure map. But now with the game being kind of its own thing and been spread across tons of different adventure maps, they have spread across like all the unlocks and content across them. The other plus is that they actually tell you how difficult they are, not each tile on the map and how difficult they are, just like how difficult in general the map is. So take that for what it is, I guess.
Here's a question. You said how it compares to Fire Emblem Warriors, but the Warriors games in general, like some of the recent servings.
Okay, I actually will get into this because I think this is something that's discussed, but we're gonna get technical on like what Dynasty Warriors games are. So
Yeah, that's fair.
if you don't want to hear it, I would advise skipping forward. But if you're interested in understanding the differences of why these games can be so fun, please listen in. So honestly, personally to me, because I actually started recently playing Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires again because I got the feeling inside of me. I was like, I really want to kill a lot of people in some sort of genocide simulator. So I decided to pick up Dynasty Warriors. So I picked up Dynasty Warriors. I was playing the game, and it kind of did make me like look at the game and go like, wow, there's a lot of flaws in this compared to kind of the newer games that they've done since then. One of the big things I've found is that in Hyrule Warriors, like your special attack is generally very useful, both against multiple enemies as well as like a single boss. They just there is no difference because like in some of the newer Dynasty Warriors games, like Dynasty Warriors 8 specifically, I'm not going to talk 9 because I haven't played 9 and it's very different.
Awful.
So
yeah.
So I did talk on it one week, but
yes.
I haven't been able to finish it because it is the definition of a mile wide and an inch deep. Even for a Warriors game.
9 has a 2 on Steam.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that is rough. I've not heard.
Apparently, they were
it.
doing some things like taking weapons out for realism and then selling them as DLC.
Oh my god.
So yeah, like the guy that does the sickle and chain, he wields a normal sword, and I don't think the sickle and chain have made their way back into the game yet.
See, that's not really the point of Dynasty Warriors. You shouldn't be really focused on realism.
Is definitely not the point.
That is definitely not the point of those games. I don't know who decided that, but it was dumb. But like, in those games, like they eventually kind of unlocked like aerial musos, a second muso, and generally they tried to cover bases. So you had one muso that affected by hitting a lot of enemies, but it wasn't really like a high damage move. It was meant to clear the area. You had the second muso, which generally acted as like an officer killer. Its job was to murder like the 2 or 3 dudes in front of you and murder them good. And then you had the aerial one, which is just generally as a aerial counter. If you did like a flip in the air, you didn't want to get hit again, you could use the aerial muso and it would give you like a safe space, and it would also generally hit the enemies around you and kind of clear them up. Hyrule Warriors kind of like decided to say is like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get rid of that idea, and we're just going to do one muso that's really good against both officers and not officers, and it's going to be useful and very nice.
I like that. because I found that with some officers, even their crowd clearing musos were still
Sucked.
geared towards
Yeah.
officers, or your officer one really was better for like.
They
That makes me happy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because like some officer killers were just really bad at being officer killers, and some like aerial clearers didn't really feel like they cleared anything whatsoever. You could be surrounded by like 100 dudes on screen and be like, oh, you killed 20 of them, good job. I'm like, my combo kills 50 of them, why would I bother with this? So they kind of like dropped that down. Jumping in general is gone. Like there is no jumping in the game, which partly, like, it has ups and downs, but it works well enough. And I can't really say it's like better or worse in a Dynasty Warriors game if you can jump, so to speak. But in the place of it, you get a dodge roll, which feels really nice. You can, because there is kind of some advanced gameplay, or at least intermediate gameplay associated with being able to dodge roll. You can dodge out of the ending frames of a move so that you're not stuck with delay
Dodge
animation.
canceling.
Yeah, dodge canceling at its finest. You have that.
Dodge.
You have that, which is very nice. I mean, you've got the special mode, which is like your rage mode and whatnot, which is very cool. The fact that you can end that early by pressing your muso button to create, it's essentially forcing you to kind of keep an eye on that gauge and learning to min-max that gauge is very nice, because it rewards you. You get the most out of your special gauge or your rage mode, and then you get to also put the enemy in a weakened state, which allows you to potentially perform a special weakened state attack on them if you can reduce the bar low enough. It's very satisfying in that regards, which honestly, playing like the Dynasty Warriors 8 again and going through like that, they have the whole man, heaven, earth. That was not really refined during that game. If you have the beneficial if you had the beneficial weapon against them, for the most part, you were going to kill them before you used the special combo on them, especially when you got into harder difficulties and you got the higher attack. I think it worked better in 8 as opposed to Empires in and of itself, but I mean, that's...
I would agree with that.
But 8, I mean, like 8 was generally a little bit more refined, I think, than Empires was. Empires, I don't know why they made some of the changes that they did, but they did. But 8 generally did a better job of it. But even then, once you started to get like the higher end weapons and you were playing on the higher difficulties, it really became a rush to just murder the dude as fast as you can, which is really what was going to happen anyway. Empires is just, I guess, an unfortunate side effect of showing you what happens when you decide to take that to extremes.
I think Empires tried to force you into doing the title hunting, and therefore they took away gameplay to encourage you to do other things, which
really makes no sense. And again, it comes back to is that like Dynasty Warriors 8 did things wonderfully, but if you play Hyrule Warriors, it honestly just took what was kind of bad about them and made it better. On the Switch version of the game, I mean, running at 60 frames is just wonderful, regardless of the game you're playing. I'll play Elmo's like Count Me Street or something for like in 60 frames, as long as it's in 60 frames. And the game plays wonderfully for it, which unfortunately is not something I think 8 or Empires was able to get a hold of, is that they are not locked into 60. So you do sometimes feel that slowdown, nastily so, when you're attacking certain things in the game. The removal, the certain combos and whatnot just tend to flow better. Like every combo feels like it has a purpose there. Link, for instance, is wonderful. You can follow up his knock up into a move that will push them more back, which can then follow up into an aerial combo, because certain characters get aerial moves if you do a move that puts them up in the air. He has a lot of ways to link new moves into, ironically enough for his name, link other moves into certain moves from them, and it always flows very nicely. It feels very natural. A lot of the times when you're playing Dynasty Warriors 8, that's not the case. You kind of just feel like you've gone to a reset. Now let me start my next combo. So a lot of things play more smoothly as well in Hyrule Warriors. Everything kind of just feels like it has a reason to why it's designed that way. More importantly, and you'll see this like specifically in some of the moves of Dynasty Warriors 8. You might remember like the Fire Blade, which charges up as you run along the map. It'll charge up a flame on the weapon, which will cause it to it caused you to expand certain moves. You had some gimmicks, a few of them on different characters. Generally, every character has, at least from the core characters, some of the characters, a lot more characters have gimmicks to them, or certain weapons have gimmicks to them. Linkle is a fine example where if you play as her, you will end up doing your combos and moves, and there's a meter that charges up as you do it. once you do your first charge move, she will literally just pull out both crossbows and just start firing the machine guns, and you kind of go into over the shoulder
Death
perspective.
Blossom.
Pretty much. It's awesome. You just press the button and you walk forward and you just like mow down everything in front of you, and there's no way from the guard out of it, and the meter just slowly depletes as you do that. That kind of stuff is a lot more apparent in Hyrule Warriors. So there's a lot more stuff on that. I would honestly just state, like, in short, which I probably should have started with, or here's the TLDR. It's a lot more refined. They took a lot of the stuff that didn't really need to be there and focused on the things that made the game feel fun. The effects are nice. The attacks feel good.
I just want the characters to feel different.
They are. All the characters are very different. You don't feel like you're kind of playing like a variation of another character.
The reskin.
Yeah. There's no copies, which is a blessing and a half. There's not even shared weapons, which is even something Dynasty Warriors 8 I have to accuse of. Certain weapons did get shared between characters, and they just gave them like maybe a different EX like combo move, or they gave them like a different muso. But some did share weapons, which was unfortunate.
Some of the ones that you would expect to didn't, though, which was interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, take that for what it is. But I mean, that kind of really delves into it. The enemy AI is not really changed from them. I mean, they're all kind of idiots. The officers generally attack more. The enemy officers attack, pretty heavily. The mooks are mooks. They're going to do their thing. The mini bosses are fun. They do, again, break levity, which has been, by the way, something else that's just very fun in the game is that the mini bosses do kind of break up the monotony of murdering things and kind of add in a little bit more of like, okay, this is important. I have to beat it a certain way. Not that you can't beat them easily once you know how, but they still pose a different challenge to play and make use of the items that are in the game. Overall, I would honestly just state that Hyrule Warriors is probably one of the best versions of the game to pick up. It just does everything well. Every time you get a new character, they're going to play differently so that you know that when you unlock a new character, this is a new play style. They're going to have some different combos. It's going to be very interesting to try them. So yeah, Hyrule Warriors is pretty much everything I remember it to be, and then some. I would recommend getting it if you have a Switch and you ever decide you want to play a Warriors game or getting the itch to play another Warriors game. Get it. Good game.
Meta gives it 5.5 rupees out of 6.
That's 5 rupees out of
his expert rating.
My expert rating. I give it 5 out of 7 rupees.
Yeah. For 5. Hey, listens out of 6.
Hey.
Yeah,
2 more listens than I needed.
Yep. All right, Mal, you're up next. What do you got?
I have been playing a game myself recently. It is not a remake. It is, in fact, a completely new game that is a sequel.
Oh, no.
What?
To Obsidian's 2015 Pillars of Eternity. It is Pillars of Eternity 2.
Gasp.
I think a lot of people have been
Fire.
waiting on this, too.
Gasp.
I've certainly. It was not Kickstarted. It was Figged. I don't know. They had a
crowdfunded.
Crowdfunded on Fig, where it got $4.5 million. Nearly
Hot damn.
400% funded. So it picks up a little. I mean, I guess there would be some slight spoilers for the first game, but it picks up.
What kind of game is
there's
it?
Spoilers
First off,
for the
maybe.
Oh yeah, it's a computer RPG, isometric, like Baldur's Gate, basically. Done by Obsidian, the people who did. They've done Tyranny, which is another isometric game recently. They also, they did Fallout New Vegas. Was it KOTOR 2? And yeah, they've done a lot of RPGs.
You got some experience under their belt.
Oh yeah. So the story picks up about, I think it was 5 years after the first one. The first one, you have you end up the owner of a keep, and you retire to your keep that has a giant statue buried in the ground or whatever around it, or it's around the statue, and the statue wakes up with a god in it and blows your keep up and steps on you, and you die.
Game over. TPK.
But the god of death, or Baroth, decides they're not done with you, so they send you back to figure out what's going on, because Eothas, the god of resurrection, basically is back and in that statue tromping across the world.
Resurrected himself.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's died and come back. So you after you you can import a save, or they've got I think they're called legacies. You can create your legacy, which is like you can go through a bunch of the choices that they care about and set what your character would have done, or you can choose from like some pre-made basic ones, and then you make your character, which can be completely different even after you import a save. And then you get to wake up on a ship in the Deadfire Archipelago. Archipelago?
Archipelago.
Yeah.
Archipelago.
Which is just a bunch of islands. And so it's got a very piratey theme. And the first thing after you wake up is your set. The pirates have trying to take your ship, basically.
Huh.
Trying to pirate your car.
Yeah.
That would be my ship, sir. I will ask you kindly to get off.
So it's got a very different feel from the first in that regards. Like the setting is very different. The first one was like basic, like, you know, Euro fantasy setting or whatever. This game is kind of like the East Indies golden age of piracy, though the natives have more of a Polynesian feel to them. So, which is just not something you don't get pirate fantasy very often.
True.
Yeah, I can't think of how many. Yeah, pirates you get to see.
Pirates of the Caribbean is about as pirate fantasy as you get.
Right, but you still got like wizards and stuff in this.
Yeah. It's Ixalan the game without the South American.
Oh yeah, no dinosaurs. So the system is built takes a lot from D&D. It's very obviously inspired by D&D. I guess. Well, yeah, early especially.
So what class are you playing, Mel?
I went through as they introduced multi-classing in this one. So I was a rogue. Wizard. Just a rogue wizard, which they call Spellblade, is the combined name for that.
Gotcha.
I didn't end up loving the rogue stuff. They're very obviously like just deal tons of damage, and they have some other interesting classes that aren't like direct comparisons to D&D, which I've already made another character who is a chanter, which, I mean, you could say they're kind of like a bard, but they don't have like the spell casting of like how a bard has basically spell casting from a wizard or something. It's you get to choose chants that you can end up building, like as you chant, you get the effect. It might be like, reload quicker, do some more damage, or heal or something. And you can build them up. You can put a bunch of chants into one string so that you're always just chanting all the ones you have, but eventually they linger and fade off. So you only get so many at a time active at once. And then they have some, and as you finish one of your chants, you get phrases, which are a resource you can spend to like cast spell-like abilities. I think they're the only ones with summons, basically, too. So I like using them for summoning.
Could have been a paladin pirate, Mal. You blew it.
I could have. I thought about it. I do like the paladin class, except that they are very tied to their. Because it's just what everyone does with paladins. They're tied to their beliefs and everything, so that you get penalties if you don't play a certain way.
Huh.
And the guys with the cool black fire are all about being cool. That's the paladin class I wanted to be, because who doesn't love wreathing your weapons in black flames? But they're all about being cruel and aggressive. But yeah, there's the 6 stats. There's though they're not a direct comparison to D&D. You got skill points. Yeah, so definitely takes a lot from D&D on the mechanics, so it shouldn't feel too terribly unfamiliar. It's not like hard to pick up mechanically. The the big story is obviously like tracking the god that killed you. But there's also a lot of political intrigue and whatnot going on in the Deadfire. Kind of like that's kind of almost the main focus. There are 4 main factions, and you get caught up in a lot of their stuff. You've got 2 outside companies almost, or there's one that's like they're basically just a trading company, and then another is more militant. And then you've got the pirates, and then the local populace who have a ruling queen and whatnot.
Huh.
Yeah, and you end up having. I mean, it's Obsidian. They love their factions. Like in Fallout New Vegas, it was kind of set up similarly, where the factions are like at the end, you ended up siding with a faction or yourself. This one actually, even though it's a newer game, ends up runs way better than the first game on my computer, which is nice because my computer's getting old. So that was a nice surprise, I guess.
What factions have you taken up so far?
I mean, I've worked with all of them at this point. They like you don't like early on, you can kind of just feel them all out, and then eventually like later in the game, you kind of you have to at least choose, like start making more harder decisions.
How much
they're very.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say they're very like. They all have very pros and cons, and very like they're all like it's all shades of gray everywhere basically with them. There's no blatant good guy in the so I mean a lot of people love that, especially these days. What?
Is there at least a blatant bad guy, or just good guys?
I mean, I guess
they're all
depends.
messing up.
Yeah, it depends on what you count as a bad guy. Like, I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of discussions on the factions, which I mean is kind of a good thing. They lead a lot of discussions. For me, I mean, it's very popular now to have with dealings in shades of gray and stuff, but sometimes it just makes everyone look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Because they all sort of either, if not condone, are okay with slavery, basically, and or like the natives have an awful caste system. The merchant merchant guild is okay with the slavery going on, and they explicitly use slaves to build their trading ships in the first game, and that doesn't really show up in the second one, so I'm not sure if that was kind of being retconned out. And then the other one, invading force almost doesn't quite use slaves, but they have extreme indentured servants. And then the pirates, there's sort of 2 factions in the pirates going on, and the old piracy captains and everything are fine with slavers and stuff. So yeah, that's just one aspect, I guess, of them. They're all kind of dealing with dirty stuff, and from a big picture, like all the factions kind of have their kind of can seem sucky at times. Like, and then there are individuals within those factions that are better or whatever.
How much side questing did you do?
a lot.
Yeah,
I
because
guess
that's like my big problem with, because if there's lots of side quests, I'm always like trying to do them all. That's one reason I haven't picked up Witcher 3 yet. And CRPGs always have that kind of like problem for me. I feel
it
like there's
didn't
almost
seem
too
that bad
much
for
to do.
like the story is very like tight, I think, and sort of almost like it's not quite secondary because it is a driving factor of your character, but like there's not like it's very I think that if you just did the main story stuff, it would be very short and you probably wouldn't even be properly leveled, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's
Like
what
you
that
are
was
I
my
think you are
follow-up.
quite expected to get within all doing side quests and whatnot. Like you don't have to do everything. There's a big map because you get your ship and you can sail around the world, and it's all fogged over at the start, so you can explore. And like there are unnamed islands you can find and name.
Do you have
There
pirate
is-
ship battles?
Yes, there is ship battles. It's a little wonky, I think. I don't know. They're fine. It's fine. It's like whenever you battle with a ship, it like just goes into like a drop down of your ship, and then like a drawn picture of the enemy ship, basically. And like you're just kind of taking turns doing your orders, like turning to port, or starboard, doing a jibe or jib, I don't know, to basically just do a quick turnaround, and then you can like speed up, fire the cannons, which take time to reload. But it's all like it's turn-based combat, whereas the normal game is like Baldur's Gate, where you can pause, but it's all active time battling.
Gotcha.
There's a and then you can also enable. So it's got quite a bit of difficulty options. Like there's the story all the way to, what is it called? Path of the Damned is the top difficulty, and it's got normal and Iron Man mode, where Iron Man is if you get the one save, and if you die, you're dead.
Which people love those.
Oh yeah, just like I know XCOM's got it.
Yeah, people do like them.
They also interestingly did an achievement system in game where they call it Barroth's Blessings, which is the god of the dead or whatever that brought you back to life. And as you unlock achievements, like do certain quest lines and or just craft so many items, you'll get points of these blessings that you can spend at character creation when you start the game again. That gives you like more starting gold, start at a higher level, that sort of thing. I think it definitely encourages people to try it at harder difficulties. And then there's also scaling. You can turn scaling on completely, or only at you can only make it so that lower levels will scale to you. So if you have scaling on, like you could just turn off the grind entirely, basically.
Yeah.
Huh.
They give you a lot of options.
That's good. Options are always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And then all of the Critical Role cast voice the practically all of I think all of your companions, I believe. Well, not all of your companions, but most.
What class is Matt?
Matt, he's returning from the first game where he voiced two of your companions. He voices a wizard and a fighter. Though in this game, you can actually choose between 3 character options when you recruit someone. So the fighter, the guy Eder in the first one of his characters he voiced was a fighter, and in this one, when you get him on your team officially, you get the option of fighter, rogue, or rogue fighter, or fighter rogue, or whatever, like the multi-class version. So that was kind of nice that they give you some customability there, because there are only, I think, is it 6 or 7 main companions that actually like have companion quests. And then there are sidekicks. There's like another 4 or 5 of them where they don't have, they're toned down, which I don't really care for them all that much. which is unfortunate in some regards because like Sam Riegel and Ashley Johnson's characters are sidekicks. But
Oh, gotcha.
and then you can also create characters like for your party. You could just create your entire party if you wanted to. All the people you take with you could just be hirelings, which you can completely customize yourself. And they included the because they teamed with Vox or Critical Role because they all work for or worked on it with the voices, and then I think they all almost were all on the first game already. You can create the Vox Machina characters, which was kind of nice. It was a free little DLC.
That's actually very nice.
Yeah, you can use it for your main character or the hirelings. I didn't use it because I wanted to have the actual companions, at least for this my first playthrough. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And then Matt also had, because Matt the DM did Gilmore from one of his NPCs, so that he also had that. And between the two official NPCs, Gilmore you can create, and if he still voices the sinister voice for the main character, you can have 4 Matt Mercers in your party. Just need one more, and you can have your entire party be Matt Mercer. Because you can have a party of 5. Yeah, I quite enjoy the setting. I like it a lot. It was cool to see the pirates, like and whatnot. Like it's pretty colorful, not like a ton of dark, dreary colors. The dungeons are really nice. The overworld map is perhaps a little lacking, but like once you get in dungeons, it's really good.
Good.
Yeah, like I guess the last computer RPG I played was Divinity 2, which is a bit different because that one is completely turn-based, whereas this one is not. But I think Divinity 2 ends up being mechanically a bit better of a game, but I like the world and story of this one more.
I'll have to play it at some point.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it seems like it's the kind of game I'd like. So
yeah, I mean, you don't even need to have played the first one because they like.
Yeah, I heard they fill you just completely in on it.
Yeah, you get a quick overview of the first game, and then like there are references.
The
and
TLDR.
Stuff, you track down a guy who is screwing with the reincarnation cycle of the first one. And you want them to end him because you become a watcher, which is someone who can watch spirits, kind of guide them. But yeah.
All right, Tets, you are up next.
Well, I too had a new game that I played over the weekend. A video game, as much as Ob's opened with a bunch of video game talk. But with Mao and a few of our other buddies over the weekend, and we played a bunch of board games. And the one that I had brought to the table was a game that I've had for a little bit but never played, by the name of Boss Monster. It's a fun little game. It is
It's a cardboard game.
Interesting.
Almost.
Yeah, you get they're like there are a few decks, and that's the entire game.
It's like a deck builder, but not really.
Yeah,
it doesn't play like a deck builder when you think of
you're
you're building
really
like a
deck.
Yeah. It's weird.
Falling from the same deck, but so essentially, the main point of the game, you are all different boss monsters of these dungeons, and the goal is to lure the most heroes to your dungeon. And the first one to collect 10 souls from the hero. Yeah, when you kill a hero, you get a soul, and the first person to collect 10 souls wins. However, if you take 5 wounds in the process, if you attract the wrong hero or you don't have a good enough dungeon, if you take 5 wounds, that hero has slain the boss monster. So
lots of old school video games like references and stuff in the game,
Yeah,
which I
it is
appreciate.
The art style is like very like
yeah, it's 8-bit.
I guess it's or it's at least reminiscent of it, if not true.
Very
Yeah.
pixelated, and it's
Yeah.
but it does have a lot of references on it as well.
Very adorable.
And you is like your boss will attract certain kind of adventurers, basically.
So
Just
each
starting
card has a symbol on it, one of 4 symbols that attracts either the cleric, the wizard, the fighter, or the thief. And so each room that you build, you can build up to 5 more rooms for your dungeon, and each room will also have one of those symbols. And whoever has
can have those symbols, not necessarily one.
more than one, and whoever has the most of a certain symbol will attract any of those heroes that have been drawn for that turn to their dungeon.
Yeah,
Part
the
of the
heroes
game-
are flipped face up from a hero deck, essentially. So you know what's coming, kind of.
Build phase, and everybody builds a room, and then everybody reveals in order after everybody is built, so that way you don't know what everybody kind of has done. But so you have two main types of cards. You have beyond your boss monster and your heroes, you have what are called room cards and spell cards. Room cards are further broken down into either monster or trap. So as you build up your dungeon, you're either going to sometimes you'll build a bunch of traps, sometimes you might be building off of monster mechanics. But each room that you build, again, will have one of those symbols. And so sometimes you want to gear towards a specific hero type. Sometimes you want to be more versatile. Again, it depends on what everybody else is playing. And there's a lot of strategy that can go into how you build, I guess.
Yeah, it gets even
you'll have
better
a
with the
handful.
expansion, too.
The spell cards can either help you during the build phase or the combat phase when the heroes go through.
Or both.
But in the spell cards in the combat phase, some of them aid you in your dungeon, but some of them are really great for screwing over your opponents, like strengthening their heroes or
I love it
resurrecting
when I
one of the
draw
heroes
this.
that they've harvested the soul from, so they lose those points unless they beat the hero again.
It was now slightly
Yeah.
stronger.
The most
Yeah,
fun I
so-
always had playing that game is when I'd get all the spell-heavy dungeon tiles that will be like, if you kill a hero in this room, because they take damage as they progress through your dungeons are these cards that you lay out in front of you.
Each room has a damage value,
Yeah,
basically.
and the hero will advance through them and take damage as he crosses into new rooms. The ones that will trigger off of, if the hero died in this room, draw 2 spell cards or something like that. Or, so then you can use them to, nuke heroes early, counterspell your opponent's cards that nuke the heroes and save them from taking wounds or stuff like that. You get to basically do lots of trolley effects.
And then furthermore, you also get some rooms that'll say, destroy this room, do an additional 5 points of damage, or destroy this room, or destroy another room and do 5 points, or destroy this room and immediately kill the hero. And so that's one of the other cool things is once you build, because initially you start off with just your boss room and one additional room. Once you make all 5 of your rooms, you then level up, and each boss has a specific level up ability. And they're all pretty cool. They're all pretty neat. I remember off the top of my head some of the abilities, or else
Mine was destroy. Everyone else has to destroy one room.
And I think the seductress gets to choose one person and get a card from their hand or something.
Yeah, and then there was the brain in a jar that got to draw 3 cards and discard 1 spell cards.
Yeah, draw 3 spell cards and discard 1.
There was another one that you get to instantly find and build an advanced trap room from the deck. And because advanced rooms are built upon the base version of the room, advanced monster is built on a monster room.
Yep.
Actually, so the advanced rooms don't have to specifically be the type. It just has to match what it lures. Yeah, so...
I did not... Oh, that's right. I didn't realize... Yeah,
it does...
I remember the first part.
In the book.
A mage room then has to go on a room with the mage symbol has to go on another one with the symbol, basically.
Theoretically, you could upgrade a monster room into an advanced trap room.
I did not realize that, but it didn't come up
it's one
for
of
me
those rules
luckily.
that like thinks, but it even goes out of its way to clarify in the back of the book of the rule book. I don't know why they just didn't keep it, because I feel like it's fine, and I feel like everybody naturally wants to play that way anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you get one of the other, because as we said, you can build on your own rooms to make advanced rooms, but if you ever like draw a better room than what you have, you can actually play on rooms that are already existing as well. So your dungeon can be ever changing. Your dungeon doesn't have to be, oh, I built all 5 rooms, I hope I draw an advanced room to make it better. No, if you know, it'd be reiterating and making it
I
nicer.
started out strong with a bunch of fighters, and then I was like the only one with fighter rooms, and then we got like all the fighters right away, basically. And then I started to build out into mages because there were just no more fighters coming.
Yeah, a lot of it is playing into what you see on the field, essentially.
Yeah, because
you eventually
the randomness of the deck.
And I believe you can eventually like play room. You can like just basically like when you fill up your dungeon with 5 rooms, you can start playing rooms over your other rooms.
Yeah, he was saying that.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. And so the other thing about the heroes is, as one of our buddies pointed out, he was like, so what's the strategy once you get to a certain point? And as you get through all of the hero deck, like they'll kind of be, I think it's like anywhere from 2 to 8 life. So once you get to a point where you're readily beating people, it feels like you're just kind of racing everybody else to attract a certain type. But if nobody gets all 10 points before the hero deck is emptied, you actually pulled out the epic hero deck. And these guys start at
11,
I think. Yeah. And they can go as high as 17. I don't think we drew any of the 17.
Yeah, they give you multiple souls though, don't they?
2.
Yeah.
But they do 2 wounds?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that starts to change things, because while I was doing good against all the fighters and I'm sitting nice, and suddenly this,
people start dying.
15 HP. Yeah, you suddenly start taking wounds until everybody starts ramping up to deal with these epic heroes. So it's a fun little game. It's not very long either.
It's not hard to learn.
Once you know the rules, real quick.
And it's also not that expensive, if I remember correctly. It's like $15 or $20 for the base game.
Maybe 25 if you're looking at it expensively. And the box itself is like, I don't know, like 3 inches by 6 inches maybe.
Yeah,
it's a small box.
$18.29 on Amazon right now.
There we go. So about $20. So,
yeah.
And it has a ton of expansions. This was just the base game.
Yeah.
So
interestingly enough, one of my buddies who does not like NES games or board games really loves that game for some reason. The thing I like the most about the game is like the references to old NES games and stuff like that.
There's Boss Monster 2, the next level.
Yeah, that's one of my other friends has that expansion.
Yeah, it's enough to play standalone. It's like you can play it completely standalone or combined with the original. Because it's got like all the same amount of cards.
Did you guys draw random bosses or pick yours?
We did where you drew 2, because it has 2 options where you either get totally random or you deal randomly 2 to everybody, and you get to choose one of the 2. So that's what we did that time.
Isn't there like a Sephiroth guy, basically?
I didn't see him.
Maybe he's in the second one.
Yeah, must be.
Because the base, it has 2 different liches, a vampire, the seductress, the brain in the jar, the golem, and the king toad.
Yeah. I think I played the King Toad the first time I played.
Yeah, and I won.
Of course you did.
And it was great. Because I had a very strong start, and then I thought I was in trouble because I was just not getting any monsters for a while, it felt like. And then everyone else died. And I was just like, I can take 1 hit, and then as long as I can kill the second guy, because no one else is alive, so I just have to build the strongest rooms I can, I win.
Yeah.
And I did.
Most of the games I played have been everyone else died, except for one person, so... That seems to be the common win condition, as far as I've seen.
Well, I mean, you can all die.
Yeah.
because like everybody else's heroes they had attracted was varied. Everybody had thieves, fighters, and mages, except mine, because I had all of the clerics, and that was it. And I only had 2 cleric rooms, but somehow I had totally attracted all of the clerics to my lair.
No one else built for clerics.
I thought you were gonna win, and then like you did the final guy or whatever, and was counting it out, and you're like, I'm just short.
No,
I'm dead.
because Matt played the zombie card, and that's why I would have
was
won.
it?
If
I
yeah,
couldn't remember.
yep. But
Yeah,
else I
it's a
would've-
great little party game, especially for people who aren't really
Yeah,
into
it
board
closed out
games.
our day. We had played 3 larger games throughout the day, and then one because there were 5 of us, and one of our buddies went home, and then there were 4 of us, and we finished with that. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. Very easy to learn. It's a quick it's like 20 minutes to play it, maybe.
Yeah, especially once you know how to play,
Mhm.
it just goes very quick.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's cute. I like it a lot. So
Yeah.
It's a good one to have in the game closet.
yep. All right, let us get on to my topic.
Whatever would that be?
That I would have talked about last week, but I wasn't freaking here.
I told Meta to take it last week, and he's like, "No, I better leave it for Obs."
Aw, that sweet guy. How dare he? Maybe I won't be so mad that he deposed me. All right, so if you've listened to previous episode of the podcast, one thing you've heard me talk a lot about is what can make the Switch a resounding home run, super success, and potentially be the biggest selling console. Well, the second biggest. I don't think they're ever going to outsell the Wii U or the Wii, but
Never gonna outsell the Wii U.
oh, they've already outsold the Wii U, I
Right.
believe.
Yes,
But
they have.
anyways, so yeah, we got some rumors early last week, I believe, maybe mid last week.
Fairly possible rumors.
Yeah, about Pokemon Switch, as people are calling it. Well, now it's being called something different with these rumors. I believe the person who linked it is Emily Rogers. Has like said some stuff. There's also like a 4chan account called Real Leaks that has apparently predicted things before. So, but they've also got stuff wrong. So this is why this is in the air and no one's like for sure. So basically, I think the first thing we got was a new logo of sorts.
Yeah,
In Japanese, it
that was
says "Let's go" in English, and it has a little Pikachu tail.
Yeah, and then there was one for Eevee.
Yeah. So the Real Leaks posted on 4chan. Let's go. These are the initial rumors that came out. These are yellow remakes for the Switch. There's 2 versions: Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Basically, red and blue will end up being the story. You and your rival are new trainers. Pokemon who follow you like they did in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and in yellow version when Pikachu followed you around. Those will return. HMs are still replaced with the Poke Nav, Poke Rod stuff from Alola. Online hub for players. There's going to be, weirdly enough, and this is part of what worries me, Pokemon Go integration. Catching Pokemon will work like it does in Pokemon Go. You'll get rewards in-game and in Go for linking the two together.
I mean, yeah.
New accessories can be used with Go in the games, and announcement soon, releasing this year.
So they've had like random tie-ins before, and it's never been like forced upon you, like with the Dream World, and then there's the DS AR game or something, and yeah, Pokewalker, I guess, from Heart Gold,
from Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it'll be forced upon you. I mean, you can't catch like in Pokemon Go when it's docked because you don't have a touchscreen.
Yep. So yeah, I could see them making catching Pokemon more of a mini game.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they will like instead of
with
just
motion
literally
controls?
pushing the button and it being a percentage-based chance. Yeah, some motion control stuff. I could see that for sure, like emulating the kind of sliding your finger across your phone,
right.
or what have you. There's also some domain names got registered apparently.
Yeah, that's like by the same company that registered, Pokemon Sun and Moon domains. So like obviously the company tied to Pokemon Pokemon already went and registered those names, which is like feels like a really big sign.
Yeah. And some people have noticed in Japan that Pikachu and Eevee are starting to be marketed together a lot on new products. Yeah. So this is basically all the rumors.
And then, well, there's also the director or whatever. It's not. Is it Masuda? I can't remember.
Something like that.
He like recently, before the rumors or whatever happened, had been like posting. He posted a picture of an Eevee and Pikachu, like, and then like a Pikachu with dressed as Mario and Luigi, who have been known to say "Let's go."
Yeah. So yeah, people are literally like scrounging this stuff, like
because he had posted like. He had posted like before they announced Sun and Moon, he had posted like a thing on Twitter with like the moon, like a daytime picture when the moon was in the sky with the sun and stuff. So he's known to do that sort of thing.
Yep. And I believe he's also said that they've basically, since Pokemon Go became super popular, they wanted to find ways to like integrate the two like mainline Pokemon games in the Go, just to like attract both players in a way.
Yeah, so, I mean, it makes sense. Pokemon Go, even though it's not as popular right now, like, was a lot of people who didn't know what Pokemon was now know what Pokemon is.
Yeah, exactly. We've also heard rumors that it will only have the original 151 in it, and some other stuff like that.
Want that to be true?
Yeah. So here's like
okay with that one. Out of all these things so far, that's the one I'm okay with.
Oh, no, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Like, what do you think the rumors are true or false? First of all, and second of all, if you do, even if you think they're true or false, say this does happen, would you be pleased with what we've gotten so far?
Yeah, nothing.
There's elements of truth. Like, there's nothing that surprises me.
Yeah, like nothing in these rumors are like, it's ruined forever. I'm not touching it.
I think they're true.
Yeah, the 150 thing would disappoint me because
it would.
It just feels like too little at this point. Like, I understand like why they would do it, but I don't want them to. Is all.
Well, so here's the thing though. If it is connected with Go started with just 150 and evolved.
Yeah.
In this day and age of DLC, I could see them doing
but that's
something
not
with it.
Pokemon's way.
But neither was Go until
but Go wasn't made by Game Freak.
No, but I mean, what I'm saying is that I could, if they did pull something like that, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me, and I could.
It also wouldn't work in the like. It doesn't really fit like story wise either.
Yeah,
like,
I'd be interested to see how
Pokemon later.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how they like did it, unless it literally took place alongside.
As many people that love or that want to bring up their Pokemon, I doubt they would stop that.
Yeah, with Pokebank and stuff like that.
Yeah,
how would they
have to
integrate
be some connectivity with that?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, part of me would be surprised if it's going to be too terribly integrated with Bank and stuff. Like, I don't know why. I guess because when you say Go.
Well, you have the power and the space now to do other things on these Switch cartridges. To do more than just you can on the 3DS. So you can store all these Pokemon and do stuff.
Switch. You can already connect Pokemon Bank to your Switch because you can get the Pokemon off of... Or wait, did they put... No, that's the DS, or the 3DS,
yeah, that's
right? Yeah. I was trying to remember. I thought for some reason Gold and Silver were on the Switch, but...
Nah, they're only on the 3DS.
But,
and Crystal.
Because now, no Crystal. Now you can take a Gen 1 Pokemon and put it all the way up to the latest Gen. I don't think they would take that away after putting it in after making that exist. I don't know why they would just remove it right away, basically.
Yeah. I'm not sure they'll do the original. I could see them doing the 151 until you beat the game, and then it's
I would understand.
Like
Gen
Fire
5.
Red or whatever and stuff too.
Yeah.
Where you go to like the 7 islands or whatever. Yeah, so I think it's true. It sounds pretty plausible. The logo looks pretty legit to me. Like Mal was saying with the director, the clues are all there. It makes sense. And I'd be fine with a return to Kanto, honestly, but what more worries me is if there's only 151 in the game, exactly what kind of Pokemon Go integration are we having? Are we gonna have to like walk around town and do stuff with the Switch?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I
I don't
wouldn't.
see them. I don't see them doing that. There's
Making
just
it
no
more
way.
of a mini game is fine with me. Like some kind of motion
There's
control
no way they
Pokeball
force
throwing.
you to, right? Like they'll let it be optional, like they have in the past.
You would think so, Mal, but this is a Nintendo.
Well, it's Game Freak.
Yeah, but if you want to talk integrating gimmicky motion controls in,
Right, but Nintendo can't just. I don't think they can. They.
no, they
that
don't
much
have a say
control.
in the game design, really. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if this ended up happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have you be able to choose between the two, personally.
I just want to know who chooses Pikachu version over Eevee.
Oh, for real?
What madman?
If there's
does
Pikachu
that?
and Eevee version, I'm getting Eevee version for sure.
Yeah.
I
Then
will get
Espeon
first
gets to be
as-
my favorite starter
as-
ever.
If there is a surfing Eevee, I will do it. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm
you can
totally
get
doing Eevee
Vaporeon.
version. Totally doing Eevee version.
I think
Yeah.
everyone will get Eevee version. I'll get both. If it's actual Pokemon RPG, if I get actual Pokemon battles, I don't want this Pokemon Go Pokemon battle crap. If it's a
that's
legit
much-
Pokemon game,
They've heard enough. I'm pretty sure they've heard the people complaining that there isn't actual Pokemon battles in Go.
yeah.
Like they're not going to do that. It's not going to just be Go for the Switch. There's
Yeah.
no way they would do that.
No, I agree with that.
I will get both versions. I will
I
play
mean, I
Eevee,
guess-
but
I guess the answer is if they're like exclusives only in Eevee or the Pikachu version, people might go for that. But if based on starters alone, I don't know who chooses Pikachu over.
well, I also just like to have like my one game that I like keep my save file on, and the one that like I can like mess around with stuff. Like keep like redoing, like I don't mind losing the save file and playing over and over again. That's my problem with like some of the games. I don't want to like lose all my stuff. Multiple save files would also be a nice new feature, but
Yeah,
that's probably like too much data. I don't know.
we'll see. I mean, I don't buy two versions. It's just not. There's not enough value in it for me.
I do because my wife always wants one of the versions.
Well, yeah, I'm by myself.
I know.
I am not buying two. Just play through the same game twice in two different versions.
Unless you're a madman, you have to catch them all.
Especially
You
now
have
that
no
Bank
one to trade
exists.
with.
Well, now that Bank exists, there's really no version for a reason.
Yeah. I want to do a Wonderlock and stream it.
Yeah.
And not have to buy 3DS with a capture card. That's what I want. Because those
Or
things
a-
are freaking
or
expensive.
a Switch. How do you stream off of a Switch? Maybe they'll have in the
You
new
can
one.
use you can attach it to your dock
Yeah.
and use
Maybe we'll
your
be able to stream the new
Elgato.
one.
Speaking of docks, my dock broke in the move.
Well,
Doesn't work anymore. So I have to buy a new dock. Sadly, for my Switch.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was gonna be Gen 4 remakes. This seems really legit to me.
nah, they said it was going to be a main title, and I don't think they consider the remakes that.
Yeah. What's funny though is also every first Pokemon game on a system has been a weird, like, non-traditional Pokemon game. I saw an article about that earlier. I can't remember the names of the ones that first came out for the DS and the 3DS, but they weren't it wasn't Pokemon XY, it wasn't Pokemon
I see.
Diamond and Pearl.
I think the story will probably be a direct, it's going to be after or during, I guess, Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Probably after, because with Lily going and Lucamine going off to Kanto, I would
Yeah.
expect to see them there. And now that they have the older, they've shown the older sprites for Red and Blue.
I would definitely not be opposed to being able to play as Lily for the game. So
Oh, I don't think they would do that.
I know, but a man can dream, right?
I would expect to see her.
Yeah. So there's worse things they could do as long as they don't as long as it's just like a main Pokemon game, it's not going to be that bad, and they won't mess it up. It's also like a chance to maybe test the market on how people would react to like a more, I guess, the Switch is basically handheld, but a more in quotes, handheld
Right.
Pokemon game before, and see like, okay, let's put like an actual Gen 8 game on the Switch eventually, and use this as kind of like a,
I don't know.
like a
I wouldn't be
testing.
opposed to them just reusing regions, because eventually
Yeah.
you just have
You're
so
gonna run out of
many
ideas.
regions.
Yeah, I just like getting new Pokemon.
It's just for it's the barrier to entry or whatever for new people.
Yeah, new Pokemon designs are always just really exciting though, especially when you get like a whole big batch of them. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they could do a few new Pokemon, especially like evolutions and stuff.
Yeah,
but
more megas.
Yeah, or
completely imbalance the metagame for competitive again. That's apparently what megas did.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited. I guarantee you we're going to see something at E3.
Just a little over 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it just feels like it. I'm excited, man. I wanted to be here. It's like Christmas time when I was a kid.
Getting
all
here
these
is
games
fast.
I can't play that don't have release dates, except the Nintendo games. Because when they show a game, they give you a freaking release date 90% of the time.
Yeah. Did they? Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by show a game.
Yeah. When you get actual gameplay footage, they'll give you a release date.
Yeah. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't like to lollygag with its games.
Unlike SMT4, which I bet we'll see something about that too.
SMT4?
Is it 4 or 5?
5.
5. Thank you. So
I mean, I guess this is not connected, but have you seen all the Persona stuff, the rumors?
Yeah, they're redoing Persona 4 or doing more
Maybe
with it.
they're doing something related to 4.
Oh my god, they're going to run 4 into the ground.
Oh yeah.
It's the FF7 syndrome. Don't ruin it. Don't.
I mean, it doesn't ruin the original game. The game's still there.
Yes, it does, Mal. It ruins everything.
No, it doesn't.
I know. I'm being hyperbolic.
I mean, the new stuff could be awful, but like,
I'd be
you still
fine
get
with the Persona 4
game.
remake.
Yeah, I think that's what people just want, is it on the PS4.
Yeah, I just want it with better graphics, essentially.
Yeah. But
so,
anywho.
Yeah, that's another topic for another day. Maybe we'll see that at E3, and then we can freak out about it. That's Meta and Tetsuo is like, whatever. And I'll probably lose my shit in Discord. Man, I mean, E3 is so freaking... Oh, I can't wait for it.
Persona 3 and 4, I think, only were like 2 years apart. What if we get 6 like next year?
I would love that, but it took them forever to do 5.
Well, now they have a working engine.
They do. Well, they had a working engine basically since Catherine.
Well, yeah.
But anyways. All right. I think we've hit the stopping point for tonight. Now that Meta has been banished to the Shadow Realm for his usurpation, we can finally end this podcast. This has been episode 53 Podcast of 5 Rings, your source of alignment around with video games, anime, tabletop, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of 5 Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter. We're at twitter.com/podcast5R. Facebook, we're at P5R Podcast. Check out Meta Them Stream at twitch.tv/PSOFlow. Mao and I are going to stream either Sunday or Monday, so maybe you'll be hearing this before we stream. Maybe it'll be the day after. We're on twitch.tv.
Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, we're going to stream Final Fantasy 1. We're going to do a series. We're going to alternate for a little bit for long-running stuff, Nuzlocke and Final Fantasy games. So I eventually want to play all the Final Fantasy games on our stream. So
are we capable to stream all of them that aren't an MMO?
Yes.
I mean, we
should
could stream the MMOs too. Or I mean, I don't know about 11. I guess
I own them all. 11, the servers are closed. No, they might
that's
still
what I
be
was
up,
saying. I don't know if we. I
have no desire
but everything
to play
else.
11. Yeah, no, the non MMO ones. As much as I like 14. So be looking out for that. Twitch.tv/podcast of 5 spelled out rings. And we've already got our party selected, so I'm looking forward to getting random encounters every 2 seconds. So until next time, we will see you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.